I'd like to introduce you to Skip Jansen. Now, let's talk about
Does that make sense?
It absolutely.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about your one of your current and ongoing addictions. How many Pearl Jam concerts have you been to?
Oh shit, dude. See, this is the problem with trying to figure that out, because I used to go when I drank and I would never remember. But in sobriety, I'd say about 50 or 60, including
Somewhere
like
between
Europe and
50.
Canada.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I was trying to get you to go on a surf trip. And you're like, no, I got tickets to 432 Pearl
Yeah.
Jam shows in Europe, and I can't go.
I love that band. You know, a terrible story. I mean, I was going to take Jackie to, but okay, so this is actually a great story of how my life has changed, right? Because Pearl Jam is one of my selfish pleasures. Going to see Pearl Jam live is one of my selfish pleasures. And we actually had tickets to both shows in Boston on a weekend last August. And I dialed in the hotels, and I was going to meet other people I had met in Europe and at tours.
You were getting your even flow going.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because feeling alive, and people that I met that, you know, that I meet on these Pearl Jam tours that I love these people. And I was super excited. And of course my stepdad died, which was a horrible thing for my mom. They've been together like 30 years. And it didn't even occur to me to make an excuse and go to the shows. Like the old me, oh, well, sorry, can't make it. You know, immediately canceled everything, went and was there to support my mom.
Because you have a true north now. You
Yes.
have a purpose.
Yes, I have a purpose, and it's to be a good son. And you know what they say, you know, it's like, just because you have a bad wife doesn't mean you can be a bad husband. Just because you have a bad boss doesn't mean you can be a bad employee. Just because you think you had bad parents doesn't mean you can be a bad son. You know, your responsibility is being a good employee, a good husband, a good son, a good friend, right? That's my commitment to life. And it's I look at gratitude as a verb. You know, if I say you're my friend and I'm grateful that you're my friend, it means I have to participate in your life, right? I can't just go, yeah, Chris is a good friend. I don't know what the fuck he's up to because I never call him, and I don't pay attention to him.
Whatevs.
Yeah, but I'm really grateful, right? It's bullshit. If I'm grateful I have a healthy body, I fucking go to the gym and I exercise. And it's like my son Zari says, just because it hurts doesn't mean you get to quit.
And Zari's in some scary shape, right?
Sick kid.
Working out with him has got to be no joke, because I haven't worked out with him, but I've sure seen him, and man,
dude, he's a.
Do you know what he can bench right now, or how many pull-ups he can do, or?
I have a video on my phone of him doing this ab workout in a basement gym in Rome that we found, because even though we were on vacation, he was still dragging my ass to the gym every day. And I show that to people and they all just go, holy shit, that's sick. But I think the stats are he's 6'4", 185 with 4% body fat. And I'm sure I'll get a text if I got that wrong.
And the other thing is, of course, he's got a spectacular, physique. But man, is he a handsome bastard?
He's handsome, and
he must have to beat him off with a stick.
But he is. I don't think he does. I think he just accepts what gets sent his direction. But he's also charming as fuck.
Yeah, I could tell, and he's very, very well spoken.
And I mean, 2 years ago or so, I was at the rock climbing gym with my daughter, and I couldn't get to the top of like the basic, rock climbing wall, I guess it is. And I was like, I'm old. And I felt really old. And Zari just goes, dude, let me help you. And he has given me a gym workout for like, there's 4 days, right? Chest, back and abs, shoulders and arms and legs. And I do them at least once a week. And when he's home from school, I do them with him every single day. And it's one of the greatest things ever. I go pick him up from, and we go to the gym, and it's actually, again, it's talking about grateful. I'm grateful he's in my life. So I participate in his, and it's changed our relationship, and
by any means necessary, Skippy.
By any means necessary, man. But again, you got to get over the fear. When your life's not working, it heaps a lot of fear on you, and experience that things don't work out. And I remember when I first got sober, and I would tell people I don't have any faith. I grew up Catholic. I don't have any faith. And some guy pulled me aside. He goes, no, you have faith. You have faith in the negative. You have faith that bad shit is going to happen to you. And when you think that way, bad shit happens to you. It's like the video you showed me today, man.
Yeah, there's a great
visualizing.
video. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about this video we took a look at today?
Yeah. But you have to be aware. Like I
It's,
wasn't even aware of how I was thinking about that until you showed me that video.
yeah, the video is, and I forget the guy's name, but it'll be in the show notes. There's a guy who breaks down confidence on YouTube, and specifically he uses the UFC fighter Conor McGregor as an example, and he compares how Conor talks and his body position and the way he carries himself against his opponents, and how ultimately that leads to, or at least empowers Conor's performance inside the octagon.
Right. And it's about visualizing how he's going to get things done even when he's challenged.
Yeah, he visualizes, he manages his self-talk very effectively. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really that's the gift, It's changed my self-talk, which was very negative, to what's very positive.
Language matters, right?
Words, I mean, I can't stress it enough. And I do this with sponsees sometimes because a lot of people just don't recognize how strong they are. And I'll have them close their eyes and I'll tell them, this is going to sound awful, but I'll tell them, listen, Chris, here, close your eyes. Listen, Chris, I think you're the greatest guy I've ever met. It's outstanding what you do for people in this world. Everybody loves you, right? And how does that feel? How does it feel when you hear those words about you?
Amazing.
Okay, close your eyes again. Chris, I'm so embarrassed that I'm even spending this time with you. You're the worst piece of shit person I've ever met. I can't understand why I spend time with you. It really drives me nuts that I can't find someone I like better to hang out with. Now, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I know what we're doing, but I get the point.
You get the point, right? You're a little more aware than most people that I talk to about that. And they go, it feels bad. And it's like, those are just words. What are the words you hear all day long? Usually they're the latter.
Yeah, and I look at all the little things that we say, right? So one of my sort of pet peeves is you ask somebody how they are, and this is prevalent in Canada, and you hear it here too, but they say, not too bad.
Yeah, terrible.
Imagine an entire lifetime where you say that. And most of us don't, it's a throwaway line, right?
Yeah.
But not too bad.
Yeah.
And so what's left, of course, is bad.
Yeah. Well, your mind doesn't hear negatives. I think that's how it goes. Okay, I got that wrong. It's not that your mind doesn't hear negatives. It's that, no, it is. It's when you say something like, fuck. Oh, well, I hope you can edit that out.
We'll just edit that shit out. I don't know. Every once in a while you get on a thread and all of a sudden there's some zebras that go by.
Yeah. But I get your point, man. It's not a positive thing to say. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not. And I do think a lot of people focus on the things they can't do, whether they're small or, big, and it makes it so that they feel that they can't do anything. And that design for living that you're talking about and changing that becomes an impossible task.
It's a revolutionary idea. It was a revolutionary idea to me that you could proactively design your life. I was lucky enough that I learned that at a young age. I was 18 years old when I, figured that out. I did a set of things, and I knew that, I had an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, right? And the angel was the voice of my grandfather, Jack, saying, you're the bestest boy in the world. And the devil was the voice of my mother, whose name's also Jackie, saying, you're going to grow up to be a bum. Mm. And she was just afraid, of course, right? Like moms. Like,
she was trying to inspire you.
She was, and you know what? It fucking worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, I'm going to be the person that my grandfather says I am. I'm not going to be the bum.
And see, this is one of the things that
she shoved my nose. It's like shoving the puppy's nose in the shit, right? Yeah. She forced me to make a choice.
Yeah.
And I could feel myself becoming a bum. I was becoming a bum. I got thrown out of school. I was working a manual labor job, all that stuff. And I was like, all that anger.
Nothing wrong with manual labor, bro.
No, there's nothing wrong. I do it almost every day, but I knew there was something more that was possible for me.
I'd graduated from college and I was digging ditches I was working for a landscaping company. Like I would go, I'm a landscaper, but I was digging ditches literally. And I was digging ditches at, what's his name? Michael Douglas's house, his estate in Montecito.
The actor.
The actor. And as I'm digging this irrigation ditch for $6 an hour, with my college degree, Michael Douglas was having this ginormous marble bathtub that he bought in Rome, craned up to the second floor because it was too big to go through the front door of this mansion. And he was having,
as you do,
right? I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, we had one trained in last week.
It was costing him $100,000 just to put the bathtub in the bathroom that they had on the second floor in the mass. And I'm making $6 an hour fucking digging ditches at his house.
Legends of losers.
I was like, oh, okay. We're not all created equal. But one of the more interesting things about AA, we are all equal. And there's one of the most famous actors in the world who I see give his cell phone number out to newcomers all the time. And just
who participates in your AA group in Santa Monica.
40 plus years of sobriety, and he gives his phone number to newcomers, and he says, "Call me." Anytime.
And he's a well known.
He's a legend, like a legitimate legend, legit, right?
In the parlance of our times.
There's not a person on this planet who doesn't know who he is, but his commitment to the program is that he participates. His, gratitude for him is a verb, and he shows it. He shows up to meetings. He doesn't give a fuck who he is. He gives his phone number to newcomers. Yeah, and that to me is inspiring, because I always thought if I have enough money, if I have enough fame, I can tell everyone else to fuck off. Yeah, exactly, right? Then I'm safe. You can't bother me anymore. Has nothing to do with that at all, man. The more I participate, the safer I am. It's counterintuitive.
I forget who said it. There's a great quote. I'll try to paraphrase it, but do not judge a person by the obstacles they overcome. If you really want to know who a person is, put them in a position of power.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're seeing it right now, man.
And it's true.
Make you crazy.
Well, and it's weird the way the world deals with you. When I was an executive, I was a fucking executive, and people treated me like that, and I dressed like one, and I traveled, and I had, all this support and all this sort of stuff, right? And then now I'm not. I show up at the airport and t-shirt and board shorts and board bag,
you gotta
and
pull your own baggage.
Drag my fucking giant boards and all that stuff, and the world treats you differently,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and it is an interesting experience. Those of you who have sort of different personas or different kind of worlds that you operate in, right?
Shit, that's right. I forget we're talking to other people right now. It's so funny. You say those of you. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah, well, we get lost in the conversation. But where one day you're a business person, and the next day you're a surfer, or whatever it is for you. It is interesting. It does get you very clear, though, doesn't it?
I was always really envious of people who got taken care of by other people, like until I got sober, and then I was so grateful, because I would have been a mess. It would have just been a disaster.
It's interesting. It's occurred to me in the last several years that I'm not interested in being around people who are not over themselves, who haven't gotten over themselves. When I get invited to, be an advisor or go on the board or of some company, if that CEO is like probably too many CEOs, just an egomaniac and self-centered and just all the horrible sort of stereotype you have about a CEO or a senior executive, I have no fucking interest, because I look at it and go,
but
you don't take, you're not over, you got to get over yourself, man.
Do you remember, can we talk about your former employer that I first met you at?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So when you were with Mercury, and we did a strike event in New York, and I remember going up to Amnon's room, right? And his suite that looked out over Central Park, and it was so fabulous. And the guy had money. I mean, the guy had money and power. And then he got involved in that options scandal. Like it's never enough sometimes for some people. You know what I mean? That greed that, like, I think if I'd been in a similar situation, it would have been the same thing. It would have been my downfall, because it just never was enough. Even the little tiny bit I had wasn't enough.
I think it's a trap we can all fall into. I certainly did too. And I remember I was in my early 30s and I was helping to start a company called Scient. And I was negotiating. I can't remember if I was negotiating my package to come on board or maybe a raise, but I think it was probably to come on board. Anyway, I remember the specifics of the discussion around this. Bob Howe, the CEO of the company, shout out to Bob, an incredible guy, incredible mentor for me, taught me so much. I love being around him and working with him. He said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, listen, if money's the scorecard, you're fucked because Bill Gates wins.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you or I or anyone else is going to do in our lifetime that's going to beat Bill. You look at Mark Zuckerberg.
Sure.
Mark Zuckerberg is probably not going to beat Bill Gates. Right. So if that's the metric, if that's how you judge your value and who you are, you're going to have a world of pain for the rest of your life. And it was at that point where I realized, you know what? He's right. Even though I grew up poor and I had this giant chip on my shoulder, monkey on my back, whatever you want to call it, to climb that mountain called make money. Because money in my family growing up, money was the thing that stopped us. So I wanted to go crush that, right? And I did. But Bob taught me that, as important as it was for me to get that chip off my shoulder, that wasn't the metric.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. I mean, I think they've proven that there's a certain amount of money you can make every year, and then any increase in that doesn't increase your level of happiness.
Yeah, I forget the numbers. It's something like that. If you
definitely. They don't live in California, whoever they're
no shit
doing the experiment with.
If you watch the movie Happy, it's a legendary documentary about a real data-oriented research approach to what is it that makes people happy. They talk about exactly this.
So interesting.
There's an amount of money that absolutely makes a difference to your happiness. If you sort of go back to what we were talking about earlier, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And I forget what that number was when the movie came out, but it was somewhere in that range, 50, 70, somewhere in that range.
It's not a huge amount of money
compared to what people are, make today in certain cases. So, but past that amount, it doesn't make a difference. And I will say, look, I'm not going to be anything less than candid. Money can make a big difference because if you get to a place where you're not struggling, and then you get to a place where you can do some things. And so what I've learned is that money's a tool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But that's all it is. There's no difference to me between money and a fucking hammer. Right?
Yeah, okay.
For me, money's about funding the life that I want to have and the difference that I want to make. Period. Full stop. I am not, and Bob helped me realize this, and I am not comparing myself financially to anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you realize money's a tool and you say, what's the life I want to live? Going back to life design.
Right.
And what's the difference I want to make? And go figure out how much you need to do that and get that, then you're good.
And see, this is the thing. Like so I never compare myself to other people anymore. Like I used to always. Like in the past, and this is a good example. If I had tried to be friends with you and come to your home, which is gorgeous,
Thank you.
I would compare myself negatively, which would inhibit our ability to be friends.
And the irony is the reason Carrie and I built this home the way we did was we wanted to create a place where when you came here, you never wanted to leave. We specifically wanted to create an experience for the people that we love in our lives that is the opposite of that feeling. We want you to feel welcome and sort of drawn in and so forth.
Yeah, don't miss my point. The design of the house has nothing to do with
I understand
my emotional reaction to it. It would be like if I have less than anybody, I feel shitty, right? If I'm going to compare myself. And that creates a lot of misery. I mean, I saw something that was said, all my suffering comes from the gap between what I have and what I want. All my suffering. Because if I have 2 million, but I think I need 10 million, I'm fucking $8 million in suffering until I can get that, right? So if you're content right? Which I'm totally content with where I am. So I can come and just be me and enjoy your home with you, which is
why we built the fucking
amazing, right? Yeah, it's amazing. But because I don't have to compare myself anymore, because I know that standard's out the window. My money is irrelevant in my life, except that it allows me, like you said, a tool. Take the family to Rome, take my wife to dinner, go to Cabo when it's fucking raining week after week after week, which we're going to do next month. Come here and visit and do this, so money is a tool. It'll enable.
It makes a gigantic difference. I think there's a lot of sort of self-help bullshit out there about that. Oh, money doesn't matter. Look, it makes a difference.
It does matter.
It does make a difference. And who is it? Was it?
But it's not going to make you happy.
It was Lucille Ball, I think, who said, "I've been rich and I've been poor, and rich is better."
Rich is better, sure. It enables me to pay for my daughter's college, which I love, because my daughter loves where she goes to school, right? I didn't have to tell her, no, you can't go. She got in to this college, and I was like, good, that's great. I'll pay for it, right? It enables me to do what I think a good dad should do, right? There are some people
and we've got it. I think a lot. And it was certainly true for me, got it fucking inverted. Originally for me, it was about getting this monkey off my back, growing up, in a modest way, let's call it that, in a struggling way.
Modest means money gives you a sense of security, you think.
Yeah.
I think that's what it means, right?
Yeah, and for me also, it was a marker of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
But what I learned over time, and Bob really helped begin to get my head straight on it, was that it is a tool, that comparison with other people's mental. And that's really it. It's like, what do you need to fund the lifestyle you want to have and the difference that you want to make?
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting conversation to have. Like if you look at the neighborhood I live in, which is not as, hippie-ish, this up here is everything's acceptable.
I think the appropriate word for Santa Cruz is eclectic.
Okay, thank you. Right, but I mean, everyone. It doesn't seem to matter what you have, as long as you're a nice person.
I am pretty sure you can go to the best restaurant in Santa Cruz in your jammies.
I imagine you're right.
Yeah.
Now in my neighborhood, where it's like Bentley, Range Rover, Bentley, Range Rover, Bentley, Range Rover. And I drove like a 1996 Ford Explorer forever, where the passenger, or actually my door wouldn't open. I had to climb over and out the passenger seat. And people thought I was like the help in my neighborhood when I would drive around, So it's different. Like, people have to, there's a weirdness down there where people think that what you drive and what you wear and what you live in, it's a big
part of why I live where I live, and I love it so much. I'm just another bald douchebag with tattoos, and you can go to a dinner party here, and there's a very good chance nobody's going to ask you what you do. There's no stupid dick measuring contest that I've ever been in. At any function that I've gone to in Santa Cruz that I can remember.
This is like community, right? It's a community.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like, who do you surround yourself with? Like, I feel really blessed. I know Carrie does too, because we have close friends who are firefighters, cops, teachers, realtors, cooks, chefs, et cetera, right? From all different sort of areas of life. And of course we have lots of friends who are in the tech industry and who are entrepreneurs big ding dongs. But to me, sort of, I don't give a fuck about that. I care about who you are as a human being, right? And the firefighters and nurses and police officers who are close friends of ours.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about Jackie volunteering in hospice.
Yeah.
One of my best friends in the world. Shout out to Stephanie Hansen. She was the head nurse of hospice in Tahoe, Forest Hospital for, I don't know, the better part of a decade.
Yeah,
and she's been a nurse her whole career.
And so, special kind of person to do something like that, I think.
So I also think it's cool to have a real cross section of people in your life, and then you also see to the point about money, that money has nothing to do with any of that, right? In terms of their worth as people.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not complaining about my neighborhood when I say that, because actually in our little half a block neighborhood, there's a market on the corner that's been there for decades. And the owner of the market is, as a cashier, he's there all the time. And there's a group of people like me. Some are unemployed. One's a waiter, some are retired. One guy sells bikes. Not in a bike shop. He just finds bikes, fixes them, and sells them. That's how he makes a living. And we all get our coffee there, and Jackie calls it our coffee clutch, because we all like gossip about the neighborhood, and it's it's like so real. And some people have very different perspectives on life, and some people have, but we all know really well. And even in my life, some of the guys that work at this market are sober, and we all share experience. It's like a really kind of neat thing. And they'll ask, the guys that aren't sober, when they have friends who need help, they'll ask me to help or make a phone call. It's like a real little community right there. And it's about a half a block.
Yeah.
Wide. It's pretty cool, man. I like it.
We right down our street, we have a young couple. I don't know exactly how old, 20s. And the husband, I don't know what he does in his real quote unquote job, but he learned fairly early on how to bake.
Oh.
So to make extra money, he built a brick oven in their front fuck yard.
Wow. Okay.
Just half a block down the street. And he posted on Nextdoor, hey, local guy making bread, cookies, and he makes
in his front yard.
Yeah, in his front yard. And he makes these things. Oh, I had never heard this. Do you know what a galette is?
No.
I don't know either. It's like a fucking awesome pastry with strawberry jam shit, or I don't know what. It tastes incredible. It's a desserty, awesome thing.
Wow.
Anyway, so he does all that, and he makes these cookies that are like completely laced with crack that you can't stop eating. And anyway, the thing I love about it, so he posts.
He sells all this.
Yeah. He posts on Nextdoor, hey, I'm doing this. Here's my email. I bake every week on, I forget what fucking days, but whatever it is. And, kind of, here's my order sheet. Well, their neighborhood.
So he bakes to order.
Yeah. And now he's got an email list. So I think he emails on Tuesdays and we pick up on Thursdays, or it's something like that. Right.
Okay.
And because he has a limited amount of time, it's his kind of volleyball after school kind of a thing. He sells out very quickly. So like everybody in the neighborhood needs to get their order in quickly. And the thing I love about it is, first of all, the shit's unbelievable. And
it's good.
Oh God, incredible.
There you go.
And, a wonderful guy, and, his wife seems like a great gal, and so forth. But the thing I love about it is it's all 100% illegal.
Yeah. See, that's the thought that was in my mind, is that if that was in Santa Monica, that guy would get shut down.
Oh,
our market used to do barbecues in the parking lot every Sunday. And wicked tasty ribs and just everything. And one of the neighbors complained about the smoke, so the city shut them down because they weren't permitted for it. Now, they still sell barbecue in the deli on Sundays, but they have to go and barbecue it in West LA. They can't do it in Santa Monica, and then they bring it into the store. But they'll I'll go, okay, I want a New York, 1.5 pounds, and they'll medium rare, and they'll barbecue to order. Just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So shout out to Stevie D and Juan in the deli.
But I just think it's great to live in a community where a young industrious man who's awesome can just pull this thing off. And
I think that's great, man.
And look, regulations and all that have their place, but I mean, come on, he's a young guy baking bread. And
to me, and I know this is a fantasy world, but we've become so specialized in what we do, we've lost touch with everybody helping out, right? If we were truly a tribe, everyone would have their specific thing that they would help with the overall tribe, right? You'd be like the shaman. Heck, I could be the baker,
I might be the court jester.
or that.
No, but as you know, Skippy, we're fortunate enough to have a good size property, and we have a garden, and we have 7 hens, and we share that garden.
Do you know one of the first
with
things
5 other families?
Eggs.
Really?
To my neighbors, because we had chickens when I was a kid. My dad was from Iowa. We had chickens, and I would sell eggs to the neighbors. Yeah.
Nothing better than a real egg.
Oh my God. You need to get ducks, dude. Duck eggs are even more brilliant.
It brought home something to me. You've probably heard this expression. It's not what you are, what you eat. You are what you eat eats. Have you heard that expression?
Oh no, I've never heard that.
You aren't. It's not. You are what you eat. You are what you eat eats.
So you mean like what do the chickens eat that goes into
Correct.
the eggs, or
So,
what do the fish eat? That
we don't eat chicken because they're our daughters. So, and those of you who have dogs and cats, do you eat dog or cat? So it's the same for us.
sounds like a advertisement.
Stop eating
So
chicken.
you're saying you've never eaten dog or cat?
I've never eaten dog or cat, and I'm not going to eat chicken for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But anyway, that said,
it's very limiting.
Our no dog, no cat. I guess that makes me a vegetarian. I just have to stick with.
I mean, what else is there?
But the interesting thing is, we try to take really good care of our girls and stuff. And you see,
I saw your wife carrying the is it Abigail?
That's Abigail. Yeah.
Abigail,
and she's been on the show,
she was
actually.
Sweeping the floor with one hand.
Yeah, no. And Abigail's been on the show. She was on the Bob Evans episode and she'll be back.
I've never seen a dinosaur who is more spoiled.
Yeah, no, they're incredible. They're like lap dogs, especially her. But my point though is, our garden is a shared family garden with 5 families.
That's so awesome.
And for me, I grew up in a teeny little apartment in a kind of more urban setting, and so to be in a garden, to grow your own food, to have many nights where dinner is 30 to 50% something that grew in our garden. And like anything legendary, when you share it with people you love, it becomes so much better, right? Yeah. And so our neighbors and friends participate with us and all of that. It really drives that sense of community really, really deep. And
can I just say that when the weather's nice, there's nothing more relaxing than sitting in that garden with the girls walking around and pecking at stuff and dusting themselves
they have their dust baths.
I mean, Jack and I love just to sit out there and relax. It's really relaxing.
No, it's a sanctuary.
I mean, honestly, it is. It's amazing. So I mean, what you've got here, and I love how you describe it as a yes house. That's my favorite thing. It's a yes house.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people when they go visit friends or family or whatever, they feel like, I got to be careful what I do. I don't want to break a dish. I don't want to track in dirt. And we try to, everybody tries to be hopefully a good health guest, as certainly I do. But when people come to visit us, I almost always, sometimes forget, but I almost always say, this is a yes house. Yeah. And the answer to anything you want to do is yes. Don't burn the fucking place down. But, if you want to make yourself a sandwich, go make yourself a sandwich. And, if you want to, whatever you want to do, go do. And, to kind of put people at ease and make them feel like they're at their house.
Yeah. I mean, it's truly a welcome place to be.
Well, and it goes back to what you said about sense of tribe, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's actually, that's a great way of describing the house, because it's for a community. It's almost like the community lodge in a way. It's built, with that giant table and the big open spaces and the used couch. It's cool that you just said that, because it's like the longhouse where the tribal council is.
Yeah, and it's interesting, when this opportunity presented itself, my co-author and dear friend Al Ramadan, I was like, build a house, fuck. But he said to me, listen, he knew Carrie had the talent to do it. And he said, this is a great opportunity. If you let her do this, she's going to build an amazing house. And he called it, what you want to do is build a legacy house. You want to build a house that is the center for people.
Nice.
So they are attracted and they come, and it's about the memories that get created with the people. And I will always be grateful to Al for that, because he put me in touch with what could be possible there. I didn't grow up in a house. I grew up in a teeny little apartment, so I couldn't get it. But he helped me get it, and that was the vision from the very beginning. And it goes back to the conversation of life design, right?
Yeah,
we knew what we wanted the outcome of the house to be. We wanted you and everybody who comes to visit us to have a particular experience. And that was a welcoming, fun, together, really soaking in life together experience. And, I think we pulled it off, and it works.
100%.
It works.
It really does.
Yeah. People want to come and they stay, and, our nieces
lie around on the couch.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Yeah,
and they really want to eat Carrie's cooking.
You two were lying on the couch and we were watching TV, and it was just like I felt at home. I felt at home.
Well, and we bought a couch where we said that the design point for the couch was if you had to sleep on that couch for the rest of your life, would you be stoked?
Which they were doing last night, by the way. I had all kinds of brilliant comments, and they weren't answering me, and I turned around and they were both asleep.
We tend to go night early.
No,
all right, Skippy.
Is that it?
Well,
oh man, we could do this forever.
Well,
if anyone would listen.
God knows. I think, somebody's still listening. My mom probably. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie. Oh, hey.
And maybe your wife, Jackie.
My wife. Hey, Jackie. But we got a fight to watch.
We got a fight to watch. And I think maybe we'll land the ship here. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for being so open and being willing to share yourself.
Yeah. If there's anyone still listening to this and they won't have any questions, honestly, get my phone number from Chris, because I'll talk to anybody about this. It's my way of being grateful for everything that AA and sobriety have done.
And if they want to find you on the interwebs and on how do they find you?
I don't know.
Well, do you have
like a what?
Are you on the interweb? Do you have a website?
You have to go on the dark web.
Do you have
to have Tor?
Do you use the Twitter machine? Have you been on that?
I don't tweet.
No. Do you use the LinkedIn machine?
I'm on LinkedIn. There's a setting on my Facebook where you can't friend request me, apparently, ever since I got married. But yeah, Skip Jansen, Jansen. Find me on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Yeah.
No Twitter.
No, I don't tweet. Are you kidding? And
no.
I don't follow Twitter.
No tweeting for Skippy.
No.
All right, Skip Jansen on LinkedIn, or you can email me.
Yeah, email Chris. He knows where to find me.
And I'll hook you up with Skippy.
And email Chris and tell him how great this show is. Not this particular show, but Legends and Losers. It's a fucking brilliant idea. It's inspiring. It's we hear and read about so much shit that doesn't work in this world. It's exhausting, and it'll put you in a bad mood, and it'll make you less of who you can be. But when you listen to people who are out there and doing shit that really works, like this guy sitting across from me right now and the people he has on this show, your life's going to be better. It's just that simple, because you're going to find out that it's possible for you too. The biggest limitation, and I'll stop here in a second, but the biggest limitation that I find in my life is in my own mind. And it happens whether I'm in the gym when I tell myself I can't lift a certain weight, or it happens with my wife when I tell myself I can't be that good of a guy, or in my job when I tell myself I can't make that next phone call and I should do something different. The limitation is in my own fucking mind. And when I get out of my own head and I just live life, everything goes incredibly well. It's a very, very good place to be, the world. And so you should really get out into it.
Skip Jansen, thank you for your generosity, for your humor. And all I really got left to say is I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
Thanks for being on Legends and Losers.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for having me on here.
Of course. Well, there it is. Thanks for listening, folks. Really appreciate it. We'd ask you to subscribe to Legends and Losers on iTunes. If you appreciate the show, please show your appreciation and drop us a review. It makes a difference. You can find us on facebook.com/groups/legends and losers, on the Twitter machine @Legends Losers. If you want to email us, you can email at blackhole@legendsandlosers.com. We would like to thank HarperCollins, Play Bigger, How Pirates, Dreamers, and Innovators Create and Dominate Markets, Equity Directory, the invite-only network of entrepreneurs and startup talent exchanging work for equity. Our dear friends at One Life Fully Lived, Dream It, Plan It, and Live It. Outposition in Singapore, legendary marketing and category design throughout Asia. The Eventual Millionaire Podcast, an amazing show with Jamie Masters. The bestseller Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, that is creating a worldwide movement. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA.org. 1-800-CEO-READ, business books. Don't be a loser. Go read something. Project Reload, connecting legendary veterans and executives to create new opportunities via a once-in-a-lifetime unique leadership experience. And our friends at Interview Valet. If you want to get your ass booked on some legendary podcasts, go to interviewvalet.com. All right, that's it. Today's information is provided to you solely for informational purposes. This oddcast is the sole property of the Legends and Losers Oddcast Network. Warning, all Legends and Losers shows contain nuts. In the event of a water landing, Pray that your captain is Sully Sullenberger. Never jog around a prison. Support your local category designer. Don't eat yellow snow. And we need to apologize to Justin Bieber. Sorry, Justin, we just ran out of time for you today. That's it. Thanks, friends. Be legendary.